Hello, everyone. Hello, Jimmy. How's it going, guys? I'm a little late. Apologize for that. I was supposed to be on there for a little while, but I'm here now. I hope you can hear me well. I hope you can hear me well. And I'm gonna do two things tonight. I'm gonna do another read through Hobgoblin comic, and there were some good moments here and there, some good stuff in the Tom DeFalco Ron Friends run for Amazing Spider-Man with the Hobgoblin, but a little too mixed up, a little too jagged. It's like it's not a clear story. They didn't create the character the way Roger Stern did. Hey, Cigar Gangster, how's it going? It's just that I prefer the Roger Stern version of the Hobgoblin. So I'm going to jump right into this one here, which I will show you. The Hobgoblin Lives. Hobgoblin Lives. I guess you could see it on here. Yeah. I'm going to read this one after I read my most comprehensive article on Islam. The reason why I'm doing that is I got, I think, over 1,000 new followers, probably more than that, on X. And I want to reintroduce myself to people who don't know about this. I don't think I read this on the air yet. And also for new followers as well. So I'm going to knock this out here. And I'm going to read this article that I wrote in 2011. This happened to be an article. It was November 2011. November 2011, I did my first speech in near Hollywood, and I remember I was flanked by hey JEC, yeah, that was 1997 that series Hobgoblin Lives. It was 14 years after Roger Stern wrote his last Hobgoblin story. 14 years. So I'm gonna read this. I try to do the phone up there for a new look, and I don't know. It's clearer, but it doesn't matter if you can see me that clear right now anyway, because I'll be focused on the images and on this page. But I just want to read this to you because, again, it was 2011, November. It was, let's see. At that point, was it 2000? Not November. I couldn't. September, actually. September 2011. My first speech. That's what it was. September 2011. And I had released Pigman at that point a while earlier. It must have been Hello Out There. It must have been late 2010. I was finished with that. I know that. And I think I released it digitally in 2011, January, I think. Anyway, the reason why I mentioned it is because I mentioned Miller's Holy Terror, which was just about to come out right before a little after I did my first talk. Anyway, so my point is that I did the talk, and David Horowitz was there, who just passed away recently, by the way. I got a chance to meet him, talk to him, and I don't know how it came about, but I wrote this piece. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim, and it became the most popular article I think I ever wrote. I've written a handful of articles, maybe more than that, dozens, let's say. And I've done, thousands of political cartoons for articles, but I've done dozens of articles at least, and I think a lot more than I think. But anyway, because I did once for PJ Media, for Breitbart, Big Hollywood back in the day, for Front Page Magazine, for Jihad Watch, a number of publications. Anyway, so I did this article, and it blew up. It became the most read, shared article of mine ever. And at that time, I think it was very, very popular on Front Page Magazine. Got thousands and thousands of views, and could have even gotten more than that, I mean, hundreds of thousands. it was spread, and I appreciate that because it was something that I think was necessary to write then, and it's as relevant today. It's as relevant as it was then today, 14 years later. So I'm going to go through this, and then I'm going to look through the issue of Hobgoblin. I just thought that this was a good opportunity actually to come here and discuss this. Because again, of the more eyeballs that I have now on X, thank you guys for following. I wrote something, I posted it, it blew up. It was, I showed it yesterday, but let me just show you again. It's now at about over 400,000 views on that one. So let me show you what blew up. I reposted it again because I was like, damn, I got a lot of play, and it's a truth that I think people want to. Okay, it is now at 407,000 views. I said, quote unquote, anti-war, quote, anti-war, unquote, whores, anti-war whores only oppose counterterrorism, not terrorism. I believe that. I believe it's true. I believe everyone does know that because again, it was after the atrocity of October 7th. We didn't see the anti-war whores coming out there. Oh my God, children were murdered. Not until Israel's counterterrorism reaction. That's when the scum of the earth, leftists, and those on the right who might as well be leftists, came out and pretended to cry. If you're not going to be moved and shaken to your core by what happened on October 7th, I don't want to hear shit about you when it comes to anything else. I just don't. I think you're full of shit. So I just wanted to mention that, and that jihadists' worst nightmare exploits their bigotry. I always get a kick out of it. So I just want to share that again. Anti-war whores only oppose counterterrorism, not terrorism. It's a fact. And I got so many. It's such an effective post that a number of people, they stole it outright. And when they were caught, they got pissed, which they always do. And they say, hey, man, don't worry about plagiarism in a time of war. They actually said that. I mean, don't worry about plagiarism. Just quote me. You agree with it? Put a stamp on it. Put an exclamation point. Say, hey, I agree with that completely, instead of just stealing it. And there were two people who stole it. And then one said, yeah, but I don't use the word whore. It's like, so then cross it out or something, or I don't know. Don't just steal it outright. It's a very succinct way of making a serious point about what we're dealing with. And I also just posted this. Let me show you this also. One second. I just posted this one. It's a line from Killian Duke, the hero of my graphic novel. And I say, quote, behind Islam's hatred of women is a love of men, which makes Islam pretty gay. That's what the hero, the cartoonist creator Pigman, says in the Infidel. I thought that was a funny line. He's talking to his old Muslim friend about that, and it's something true about that also. These misogynists, in a lot of ways, there's something off about them, something a little fruity, let's just say, something that they don't want to admit. To have that kind of rage against women, it's like, damn. Anyway, so here we go. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it, as always. And again, this is 2011. It's as relevant today as it was then. And I want to go through it, and then I want to go through the Hobgoblin, at least issue 1 of the 3-part Hobgoblin Lives series. You guys have any comments as I read? Anything that jumps out at you of what I write? Please challenge me. Whatever. Bring it on. Thank you. So this is a drawing that I did for the article. I was on my knees as a Muslim praying to Allah, Allahu Akbar, and eventually got the hell up off my knees and just stood. And it's a dark and murky here, lighter blue, boom, to white. I think I got to do it this way. It's just best to do it this way. You guys can see it as well. You can read along if you want. But here we go. Originally published 2011 at Front Page Magazine. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. That is, if Muslims don't kill me for leaving Islam, which it requires them to do. That's just one of the reasons I've been writing and drawing against Islam and its jihad for a number of years now. But fortunately for us, Islam hasn't been able to make every Muslim its slave, just as Nazism, National Socialism, wasn't able to turn every German into a Nazi. So there is Islam and there are Muslims. Muslims who take Islam seriously are at war with us, and Muslims who don't aren't. And I get pushback from that also. I was called a pussy at the time, a sellout, because I said, no, all Muslims are jihadists. That's just retarded. It's retarded. Um, my enemy in this context is Islam and its true believers. That's my enemy, not the passive Muslims that were born into Islam who don't know shit about it. Most of my family are Muslim. They never read the Quran. They don't follow anything. They have dogs. They smoke. They drink. They eat bacon and pork. They're American. They're American. They're Muslims in name only, which is my kind of Muslims. So it's really, really stupid to declare all Muslims equally evil as the jihadists. It's just stupid. Also, this one thing, just a little distinction here also regarding that. When these Jew haters come to me and say, hey, when I corner them as Jew haters, they don't like calling themselves Jew haters, but when I corner them as Jew haters, no, 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 I hate Muslims just as well. It's like, oh, so you hate Jews and you hate Muslims, like indiscriminately, both. I said that's a big difference here because I hate Islam and its true believers, and you hate Jews and you claim to hate Muslims only when you're cornered. And also, all Muslims, all Jews, no matter what they do, no matter who they are, really, really stupid, and it's growing. It's metastasizing this disgusting Jew hatred that blew up after October 7th. The timing is grotesque. A horrific attack on Jews in Israel made a lot of these rats who were in the closet bust out of the closet as if it was a great thing to do. I don't know, but that's another story. Let me go on there. But that doesn't mean we should consider these reluctant Muslims allies against jihad. That's for sure. While they're not our enemies, they're not allies. See, I don't pretend either. Even today, someone said something I couldn't believe it. Like, well, how about moderate Muslims allies? I'm like, that's long gone, guys. That's long gone. That's over. Whatever you thought 20 years ago about that's long gone. It's bullshit. So while they're not our enemies, they're not our allies. That's for sure. Because in the context of war, passive Muslims are irrelevant. The only reason why they're invoked is to try to say that, well, they represent Islam. That's a lie. The true believers represent Islam. So I said, but that doesn't mean we should consider these reluctant Muslims allies against jihad. I've been around Muslims in my entire life, and most of them truly don't care about Islam. The problem I have with many of these essentially non-Muslim Muslims, especially in the middle of this war being waged on us by their more consistent co-religionists, is that they give the enemy cover. They force us to play a game of Muslim roulette since we can't tell which Muslim is going to blow himself up until he does. And their indifference about the evil being committed in the name of their religion is a big reason why their reputation is where it is, in the toilet, basically. So while I don't think the passive Muslims who were just born into it and don't give a shit about it are our enemy, they're sure as hell not our allies. And they have made themselves part of the enemy in the sense where they don't condemn it. They don't try to differentiate themselves. They claim that they're as Muslim. They're just Muslims. They're true believers. That's it. They're not, they're liars about it. So, but I just don't want to get into this idea where they're all to be. It's like these retards come to me. They think they're being smart. They say, your idea is to kill half the world's population to murder them. It's like, first of all, they're not. Muslims have been lying to us for decades, if not, well, for centuries, but decades about the number. They used to say we're 1.2 billion, 1.5. Now they're over 2 billion. That's a lie. It's a lie. This is not the case. There are less Muslims. There are with the internet, with Muslims reading the Quran. Actually, a lot of them are leaving. I'm not saying to the extent that some believe it is, but I think a lot of them are when they become familiar with the religion that they claim to know and be part of, they don't want anything to do with it. The intelligent ones, at least the ones in the West, they look like, what the hell? I'm part of this. I want nothing to do with this. So, what was I going to say? I'm just go on. Okay, another problem I have with it. with Muslims who aren't very Muslim is that they lead. Okay, so while I understand that most Muslims are not at war with us, they've proven in their silence and inaction against jihad that they're not on our side either. And there's nothing we can say or do to change that. We just have to finally accept it and stop expecting them to come around while doing our best to kill those who are trying to kill us. And of course, oh yeah, you want to kill them? You're just cartoonist, you idiot, you coward. It's like, yeah, okay. We have to speak that way. They have to die. These scumbags who would, do the most heinous attacks on us possible. And in a nuclear age, we can't afford this ever. We can't afford this. So, huh, sorry. Apologize, guys. Okay, I'm gonna keep that off. Okay. 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 Another problem with Muslims who aren't very Muslim is that they lead some among us to conclude that they must be practicing a more enlightened form of Islam. They're not. They're practicing quote unquote life in non Muslim countries where they are free to live as they choose. But their Islam is not the Islam. I don't know why it turned out that way on this reader. Anyway, there's no separate ideology apart from Islam that's being practiced by these Muslims in name only. There's no such thing as quote unquote Western Islam. And I've heard Muslims say that. Is American Islam, Italian Islam? So, is there an Israeli Islam? Huh? I used that in my graphic novel in a debate, and the Muslim who heard that was like, you know, non-observant Muslims are not our problem, but neither are they the solution to our problem. Our problem is Islam and its most consistent practitioners, its true believers. There is nothing in Islam that stays the hand of Muslims who want to kill non-Muslims. If an individual Muslim is personally peaceful, it's not because of Islam, it's because of his individual choice, which is why I often say that your average Muslim is morally superior to Muhammad, to their own religion. The very rare Muslim who helps us against jihad is acting against his religion, but that doesn't stop some among us from thinking that his existence somehow means that he represents more than himself. The only reason we're talking about Islam is because it doesn't mean peace. Islam wasn't hijacked by a small minority of extremists on 9/11. It was hijacked by a very, very small minority of moderates whose embarrassment in being associated with such an immoderate religion leads them to engage in moderate truth-telling about it, proving their irrelevance as allies. In addition to these politically active moderates, when you see well-assimilated Muslims in the West, you're not seeing Islam in action. You're seeing individuals living up to the old adage, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. They're essentially post-Islamic Muslims who have rejected Islamic values and have embraced Western ones. But since the process of their assimilation was implicit, as it happened naturally by their exposure to Western, i.e., pro-life values, both Muslims and non-Muslims alike prefer to generously give Islam some credit for it. But a good Muslim by our standards is a bad Muslim by Islamic standards. Objectively good human beings who identify themselves as Muslim give Islam a good face, one far better than it deserves. This only gives us a false impression about what it is we're facing, but just another excuse not to face it. And this leads to our acceptance into our culture of stealth jihadists who have figured out how to say what we want to hear while they scheme behind the scenes to further Islamize the West. Hey, Grey Wolf. In the name of distinguishing the enemy from Muslims who mean us no harm, far too many Western commentators have avoided using the name Islam for the enemy's ideology, and instead have decided to create their very own terms for the threat we're facing, terms that are alien to the enemy, terms such as quote unquote Islamic fundamentalism, Islamic extremism, totalitarian Islam, Islamofascism, Islamofascism, political Islam, bin Ladenism, believe it or not. Christopher Hitchens pulled that one out of his ass. Radical Islam, militant Islam, Islamism, jihadism. We didn't use terms such as radical Nazism, extremist Shinto, or militant communism in the past. Militant Islam, political Islam, etc. are redundant terms. Our pretending otherwise has proven disastrous. Thousands of American lives, both civilian and military, have been sacrificed because of policies predicated on the myth that Islam means peace. We didn't try to reform Shinto or Nazism during World War II. The major changes in those cultures took place only after we thoroughly demilitarized them. We haven't done that with the Islamic world. We haven't. We haven't demilitarized them. We thought that we could. The idiots in our government thought we could work with them and make them like a Western type government and a military. It's absolute. It's anyway. I think I'm overusing the word retarded these days, but that is what it is. I said, and it's no accident that Western analysts of Islam who are most informed about Islam are also most critical of it, while those least informed are least critical. That's worth repeating Keep it in mind when people come to you and they pretend to know something. It's no accident that Western analysts of Islam who are most informed about Islam are also most critical of it, while those least informed are least critical. You'll know who I'm speaking about whenever they open their yaps about Islam or jihad. But then there are those who, in their study of Islam, have become so enamored with their subject that instead of sticking to what Islam is, they often write about what it isn't, what they hope it might be, like Daniel Pipestream. They seem preoccupied with doing their part to save Islam from those who have allegedly corrupted it. The Muslim world is where the true meaning of Islam can be found in practice. It's a world where the bad guy won. I made a cartoon about that with the drawing Muhammad. The Islamic world, the hellhole that is called the Islamic world as if it's an alien planet. The Islamic world is a world where the bad guy won. The Muslim world is where the true meaning of Islam can be found in practice. Islam, not any alleged deviant form of it, means misogyny, censorship, anti-Semitism, homophobia, wife beatings, beheadings, honor killings, pedophilia, child marriages, murdering infidels, etc. This is evil, and Islam sanctions every bit of it. But we've been told that we must respect one of the world's great religions because it's a religion. Following 9/11, the only thing George W. Bush knew about Islam was that it was a religion, and that apparently was a good enough reason for him to exonerate it as he did. And his advisor on Islam, David Forte, told Bush exactly what he wanted to hear, that, quote, nothing this evil could come from religion, unquote. I said, but 9/11 did come from a religion. Whatever else 9/11 was, it was an act of faith. Act of faith, act of war. That's what it was. And Bush saying Islam is peace shortly after 9/11 gave the enemy a gift they couldn't have foreseen. He was the one man who was charged to defend America from their attack, and here he was defending the very ideology that motivated the attackers. Honesty is the best policy in general, and when it comes to war, it's a moral imperative to find out the truth, to tell the truth, and to act on the truth no matter what sacred cow is killed in the process. And so a big part of why nearly 3,000 victims of jihad on 9/11 have been avenged is because of respect for religion, even for a religion that calls for our destruction. Muslims who really care about Islam are part of an organized effort to spread Islam, and I sometimes refer to this collective effort by Muslims as "quote unquote" organized Islam. I hate using any term besides Islam to discuss the ideology, but in this, I'm thinking in terms of, okay, so I actually put it here. Okay, Muslims who really care about Islam are part of an organized effort to spread Islam, and I sometimes refer to this collective effort by Muslims as organized Islam, as in Islam is bad and evil as such. When it's organized, it's even more dangerous. No matter what, no matter the means involved, Muslims working towards a more Islamic world want the same thing the jihadists want. Every single stealth jihadist who wants to Islamize America is on the same boat with the jihadists. Every single last one. Every dedicated Muslim, whether they're, again, the stealth jihadists who wear suits and who try to, infiltrate our institutions, the rich scumbags in the Islamic world who want to buy their way into making sure that Islam is not criticized in universities, media, and so on. Any kind of institutions, companies. This organized effort includes mosques, Muslim organizations, Muslim individuals writing books, blog posts, etc. And they all invariably engage in anti-Western, anti-Israeli propaganda at the very least. I often hear that we should be working with the Muslim world. I still hear that. Working towards what? As Ayman writes, in any collaboration between two men or two groups who hold different basic principles, it is the more evil or irrational one who wins. The more consistent, the ones who are more dedicated to their ideology. Anytime we spend, quote unquote, working with a culture that calls for our destruction, we are working towards our own destruction, consciously or not. While it's true that jihadists don't represent most Muslims, they do represent Islam. But then why don't most Muslims engage in jihad? Like any culture, heroes are a small minority, and that goes for Islamic culture as well. The jihadists are Islam's heroes. They are the ones most dedicated to following Allah's commands, and they are celebrated in the Muslim world for it. They are also the only ones to whom Islam guarantees paradise. It's true, and even for the family of jihadists. It's the greatest thing that any Muslim can engage in, jihad, according to Muhammad himself. And their rarity was made even clearer. Okay. They are also, what I wrote here. The jihadists are Islam's heroes. They are the ones most dedicated to following Allah's commands, and they're celebrated in the Muslim world for it. They are also the only ones to whom Islam guarantees paradise. And their rarity was made even clearer when we learned that only the pilots of 9/11 knew it was a suicide mission. Our enemy knows that it's tough to get even hardcore Muslims to sacrifice their lives for Islam, but they don't want us to know that. That's why they brag about we love life, we love death, you hate life, you love life, to try to mock us. No, you hate life. You hate life, you hate yourselves. And the ones who are most dedicated to Islam hate themselves the most, and they want to fly right into paradise. They're sick of this world that they can't handle. You know, it's so far removed from what Islam told them. But at the same time, you get countries like America, for instance, to those in the hellholes of Islam, they look at it. It's like a dream to them. It's like a paradise, and they're like, that's interfering with our idea about what Allah promised us. So we have to destroy this country. That's also, I think, another aspect of why they hate America so much, because it does give savages a chance to have peace on earth, or to have paradise on earth. Um, that's also another factor. Through my reading of it all over the years, I came to that conclusion. I think it's a unique one. I haven't heard anyone else mention that one. But again, this is what happens when you think and overthink this thing. There was a time when all I was doing was studying Islam. It was, necessary, but my God, I'm glad I forgot a lot. I still know a lot, but I'm glad I forgot the horrific, obscene details that I learned. But if I think about them now, I'll start thinking about them. So let me just keep reading. Um, our enemy knows it's tough to get even hardcore Muslims to sacrifice their lives for Islam, but they don't want us to know that. Just as they don't want us to know that behind their boast that they love death is the fact that they hate life. And while Muslims who blow themselves up in order to kill non-Muslims are a small minority, Muslims who would explicitly condemn them are an even smaller minority. Arkayanish Paba? Bro, Islam is cancer. That's right, bro. I got no problem with that. And while Muslims who blow themselves up in order to kill non-Muslims are a small minority, Muslims who would explicitly condemn them are an even smaller minority. While I think that Muslims are mere sheep to their jihadist wolves, there are also too many Muslim cheerleaders for jihad. How many Muslims celebrated 9/11 and October 7th, and so on? Far too many. Even in my own lax Muslim upbringing in America, there was an omnipresent anti-Semitism and misogyny. Some members of my family admired Adolf Hitler, who I referred to as Islam's favorite infidel. Regarding misogyny, the birth of a girl became a day of mourning for Muslim women in my family. They understood the suffering this girl would endure under Islam, even America would have to endure, so long as she was around a Muslim family. Though we say we've been at war for over 10 years, again, this is written 2011, we haven't even begun to fight the war the way we should be fighting. And those calling for a change within Islam during this war would be surprised at how much Islam can be changed through an honest war on our behalf. Keep that in mind whenever people talk about reformation. It's like, yeah, kill the fuckers who are killing, and we'll see how fast these passive Muslims want to live in a more civilized world. Like, oh shit, our main guys were taken out. Allah said that they're gonna be victorious. Maybe there is no Allah. You shatter their faith. You shatter it by destroying their heroes. So I said, and those calling for a change within Islam, as if, we fight a war and we're trying to moderate Islam. Us, not Muslims, like on the outside. Leftist idiots and also idiots on the right who thought they could do that. Those calling for a change within Islam during this war will be surprised at how much Islam can be changed through an honest war on our behalf. You can't make a violent religion. You can't make a violent religion like Islam non-violent by argument, only by greater retaliatory force against state sponsors of jihad terrorism. We have yet to do that, and don't talk to me about Afghanistan and Iraq. That idiot George Bush didn't go to the real hubs of sponsors of jihad, Saudi Arabia and Iran. The real hubs. That's the real ones who spread this evil ideology. The future of Islam and the well-being of Muslims is said to be of importance to us. Post 9/11, the defense of our culture, our values, our very lives has been optional. But our defense of Islam has been absolute. This is the truth. It's sick and true. Am I saying about all of us? No. Some of us know. Some of us understand it. But unfortunately, I think a majority, And it's like they're scared. It's like, yeah, stop being such pussies. Defend the West against its enemies. It began with Bush's Islamist peace and continues with Obama. Obama was president when I wrote this, who said in his submission speech in Egypt in 2009 in front of members of the Muslim Brotherhood, and if you remember, guys, he had a slight beard, like a 5 o'clock shadow, a little mustache almost. He never looked like that before. He was always clean shaven, but he allowed it to go for at least a day or two. That's not by accident, guys. I consider, he goes, he told Muslim Brotherhood, who were in the audience, I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear. Say, if only he felt that the same about America. Did he ever say that about America? Did he ever say that as president, I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States of America to fight against negative stereotypes of America wherever they appear? No, he said about Islam. An ideology that motivates a war against America and the West at large, and India and Israel and so on. We can't be both for Islam and for ourselves. This enemy is fully on their own side and fully against us, and they made themselves believe that they're the good guys and that we're the bad guys. And our actions have done nothing but turn their hatred of us into an ever-deepening contempt. Think about that. Their ideology tells them to hate us, and they do. And our actions have told them to hold us in contempt, because they're like, what cowards. We made up this big lie that Islam is peace, and they repeat it, they regurgitate it, and they act like Islam is fine, that doesn't want war with them. They look at us like absolute chumps. Before we see the enemy for what it is, we need to see ourselves for what we are. Only then can we, with full moral conviction, make them pay for what they've done and move us towards victory. Our problem is not Islamophobia, quote unquote, but Islamophilia. It is this uncritical, uninformed, absolute defense of Islam by Western elites after 9/11 that I refer to as Islamgate. It's a scandal for the ages that few involved would ever admit to being part of. I care about the truth. Yeah, I'm just about done, guys. I care about the truth. I care about Western civilization. I care about myself, my loved ones, and my friends. I care about life, and that's why I don't care about Islam. Our altruistic concern for the future and well-being of the Muslim world has come at the expense of American lives and treasure. We place the well-being of the Muslim world above our own self-defense. We place today's big lie, Islam means peace, above the truth we need to act on. We place the lives of Muslim civilians above the lives of our soldiers, placing them in absolutely unnecessary danger in order to protect innocent or even guilty civilians. First time I ever thought about that concept was post 9/11. When I saw the savages celebrating, I said, those are guilty civilians. There's nothing innocent about them. They're celebrating the mass slaughter of human beings. You can't reason with these savages. Our rules of engagement might as well be renamed the golden rules of engagement, as our soldiers have been forced to treat the enemy the way we'd like to be treated. And the enemy takes full advantage of that, as they do of all of the policies of our morally vain politicians have concocted. All the policies our morally vain politicians have concocted. We need to shift the focus onto our own well-being at the enemy's expense for a change. We've tried everything since 9/11 except real war. War is the answer to jihad, and I don't want to hear from anyone, here or anywhere. Hey man, we fought a war for 20 years, that's not the answer. It's like, dummies. We never fought this war. Our soldiers were never unleashed. Our military was never unleashed against the enemy. They were always not allowed. They were not allowed to destroy this enemy for religious reasons, for the born-again Christian that Bush was, for a piece of shit pro-Islam communist that Obama was, and so on. So it says, so who cares about Islam? I think that was the original title. Who cares about Islam? Like it's a double, like a twofer. Like who cares about Islam, but who actually cares about Islam? So that was the original title, and then it became My Name Is Bosh, and I'm a recovered Muslim, which I think was a stronger title. But that's why I put it this way, as in I care about the truth. I care, and then who cares about Islam? Muslims, jihadists, Islamophiles, leftists who naturally side with the anti-American ideologies, guilt-ridden fellow travelers who think America is usually in the wrong, and religionists who believe any religion is better than none. But since leftists and Islamophiles usually know very little about Islam, who truly cares about Islam? Those who are at war with us. Those who love Islam are at war with us. In the end, I care about Islam and the Muslim world as much as the Muslim world cares about America and the West. This is war. We can't be on both sides. I'm not rooting for Islam or the Muslim world. I'm rooting for us. So that's my article. My name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. Um, this is for basically my new followers here, over 1,000 in the last day or two, which is pretty wild. I don't think I've had that sharp explosion of followers that quickly. But thank you for doing that, guys. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions about this, any comments, I'll wait for you guys for a minute until I start the Hobgoblin. Let me know, guys. Appreciate it. Um, I don't know why. I mean, it would be cool if we can like get calls or um, have like the spaces on X. I'm thinking about doing the spaces on X. I believe probably a good time to do that would be after I fulfill the orders for pigment number one and people can express themselves. I think that'll be cool. I think that'll be cool. Um, so let me get on to the Hobgoblin. I guess I said everything that has to say, right? So you guys have no questions. You just, um, or am I presuming too much here? Okay, guys. Let me make this a little smaller. Make sure I can fit it all in here well. Okay. I think it's fitting. A little more. By the way, guys, also if you don't know, I am part of College Gate Kings on Monday nights about usually it was 7:30, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's more or less canceled cartoonists who get together and we draw. I mean, that's the main thing we do now. We draw live during the air. How's it going, Hamilton? How are you? I just read from my. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well. I just read from my article. Um, my name is Bosch, and I'm a recovered Muslim. I just wanted to discuss that with new followers here on X. I have over 1,000 new followers on X, so I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. Um, and now I'm going to get into The Hobgoblin Lives Part 1. The first issue, it's a 3-issue series. This is 14 years later after Roger Stern's final issue of Amazing Spider-Man, where he left off. An explosion happened. Issue 250 of Amazing Spider-Man with John Romita Jr. And then he, I think, semi-wrote the next issue with Tom DeFalco. So he hasn't been around here for a long time. And now he's coming back here to let us know who he had in mind. This issue, yeah, it's good. Hamilton, George Perez inks this, which is interesting. It's an interesting look. Oh, thanks, Hamilton. Did you read it? Um, yeah, it's everything I wanted to say about Islam, all in one piece. And then the other one that's on my blog as well, my Draw Muhammad challenge, is everything I ever want to say about free speech and the Muhammad cartoon. War, the war over cartoons. Everything I want to say about that is also there. It's a longer article than this one. This one's long too, but that one I gotta say, it's the thing that you know a 9/11 was bad enough, and then 4 years later you had the Muhammad cartoon crisis, and that's when I started drawing Muhammad because I didn't know that there was a prohibition in Islam growing up. There was never any talk about that, so I learned that after the fact. But as I said, there's not an ironclad prohibition, regardless, because it's the Shiite Muslims have been drawing Muhammad for centuries. Paintings, there were even paintings, representations of paintings at the Draw Muhammad, exhibit that I won the contest at. They had all these paintings. They had 350 different entries from artists across the world. Um, I remember seeing some of the entries, and I wasn't sure if I would win because some of them were really well. They were well painted. They were and I was like, okay. Mine was like, it was the point about the cartoon and about Draw Muhammad. You can't draw me. That's why I draw you. That's why I did it. By the way, guys, also, let me just show you quick here, just a quick reminder. You know about my Winnie Muhammad cartoon. If you don't, I will show it here. This is my Winnie Muhammad cartoon. This is the one that 2015. It was 7 days ago was the 10th anniversary since I won. I won $12,500. Two jihadists got their heads blown off. I mean, think about that. That was a bonus. Yeah, jihadists getting their heads blown off. Anyway, so you can't draw me. That's why I draw you. I offered 20 recreations of this drawing to people who want it for $500. If that's too much for you, I get it. I almost died for this, so I figure I want to, sell it for a little more than my average original art. I have three left. There are only three left, guys. So, if you're interested, let me know. Let me know, and I'm down to three. And it's 14 by 17. I redraw it, I sign and number it, and it's something that I just sold two actually the old day, so that's why I'm down to three now. And it'll be the only ones, period, at that point. I will never redraw it ever again. That's it. It was 20 of those, and that's it. So keep that in mind. You'll get a replica as close to the original as you can get, drawn by me and signed and numbered. So check it out. Okay. Thanks, Hamilton. JEC, do you have a YouTube channel where you just post videos of you drawing Muhammad every day? I don't. I've drawn him I drew him actually the old day. I drew him the old day. On the 10th anniversary of the of my contest winning. By the way, that's a replica of my winner right there, and on the canvas. I have it above my table. To me, it's a special place. It's a special cartoon. It's my most famous cartoon to the point where it's known more than me. People say my name to some people is the guy who won that contest. That's my name, and that's fine. It's become a symbol, you know. Yeah, Hamilton. Yes, 17 sold. So I got three more. If anyone's interested, and if anyone wants to get this for cheaper, just give me an offer on X if you want. Message me. This is the drawing I did live on the 10th anniversary of me winning the contest. Just as I was talking, I was talking about the event, what happened, and the terrorists, and so on. And I drew this drawing of Muhammad. If you want to offer, let me know. Again, you can message me on X. You can make a comment on YouTube. And guys, if you can follow me on YouTube, I would really appreciate it. If you can subscribe to my channel, if you can comment at any time that you want, if you could like this video, I would really appreciate it. And follow me on X if you haven't. If you're just passing through, follow me on X. JEC, that'd be a funny troll channel. Just post a 5-minute doodle of you drawing Muhammad every day. That's right. I also drew him the old day on my iPad, and I posted a video of it. You just see the lines going. You know, it's pretty damn cool. So thanks, guys. So yeah, if you want to order that thing, there are three left. There will be no more. That's it. You can have a chance to own an original Muhammad drawing, the one that I won, the one that jihadists came to kill us over and died for it. Awesome. You know, people say that's terrible. What happened? I said terrible. I won $12,500, celebrated free speech, won a contest, and two scumbags got their heads blown off. What a night, guys! What a night. That's right. Then at the end of the week, you can read all of the death threats you've gotten. Yeah, I mean, I collected of at least 800 of my death threats in 2 volumes of peaceful death threats. And by the way, I got one left, guys. If you're interested, there's only one left of peaceful death threats. It's on my store here. I got one left. I just sold 3. So it'll be out of print at that point. And if there's more interest, I will do it. And by the way, guys, this should be coming. It's taking a little longer than I would like, but my printer, it was a bad printing. I had to reprint it. I took the hit. Unlike Average July, I took the hit. I want you guys to get the best version of this. So it's Muhammad on the run, and you know who's behind there. Who's going to run from? Well, it's pretty obvious. You guys can order that. I'll be getting my copies. I ordered some extra copies as well because I sold a number of them in the last few weeks. And there's only one left of this Peaceful Death Threats. You Are So Dead. Peace. And on his back, draw me. Volume 2 is out of print. Islam Bitches is out of print. What else is out of print? Propaganda, the first print appearance of Pigman, out of print as well. And also, for right now, I have about a dozen copies of My Muhammad Cartoons Volume 1 and My Muhammad Cartoons Volume 2. You can order them here on my store. You could also order these stickers. You could order, yeah, this is sold out of print. This is sold out also. Pigman trading card, Pigman punching Muhammad. You can order that. This is out of print until there's demand. Out of print, sold out. I also got rid of the digital versions of Pigman on my site and on Amazon. Kindle, you can no longer get Pigman comics on Amazon. They were there for years. Took them out after I launched, right before I launched my campaign. Islam Bitches is out of print. I particularly like this one. I got to say, it was quoting Islam Bitches across the centuries, Islamophiles. They're called Islamophiles, but I crossed that out. I want a more disrespect, a term to disrespect them a little more harshly. They're all in there from centuries ago till now, from Napoleon to Prince Charles. This is a Ripa Muhammad drawing I made. I think I caught it pretty well. This is a Table for One, my first graphic novel. It's the signature line and image from it. I walked into the crowd room, not a site. My war-torn Trump print. It's my second most popular print after my Ayn Rand print. Kofif. This is remember the little thing that they had. That's right, Hamilton. You didn't make it more cinematic. That's hilarious. I was thinking to be more cinematic. It's like, wow, it's stunning lie. And I called him out the old day, and he came back to me. We were going back and forth, and then he blocked me. That's fine. And he said, we never lied to our customer. I said, that's the biggest lie you've told yet. Anyway, so this is Trump's typo in a tweet that he did years ago, if you remember, Kofif. And people were like confused about it. He just meant to write something else. And so I said, you know what? Muhammad knows what that means, and it terrifies him. So I thought that was funny. I got this image of New York City at sunset. I got this Rutger Hauer. I like the way this came out. It was my stylized version of that moment. Tears in the rain moment. Muhammad drawing me as revenge. So I have these guys. I have my Muhammad Cartoons Volume 1, my Muhammad Cartoons Volume 2. I still have about a dozen copies each. This is the actual quote from Muhammad. I have been made victorious with terror. And I give him the little henna hair. He dyed his hair red. He loved the color green, and so on. I still have a digital copy version of Table for One here, if anyone's interested. But when I get the print version, I think I'm going to knock it out. Here's my original Muhammad drawing I did on a live. It wasn't a live stream. It was a recording that I did live. Then I uploaded it. Tank Man, the heroic figure in Tiananmen Square. That's my interpretation of it. We all see him as a small thing. I wanted to make him a giant, and the tank thing as a small. I thought that was a good way of doing it. A little different take. Fight, fight, fight. Print. Commie Nazis. Nothing pisses off leftists more when you remind them or when you tell them for the first time that they are in bed with Nazis, that they are Nazis, that they are socialists. Hitler was a National Socialist. The only difference between Stalin and Hitler is that his mustache was a little shorter. Stalin slaughtered millions. Same thing with Hitler. Stalin hated Jews. Same thing with Hitler. He just focused on it a little more than Stalin did. And when people say, well, the Nazis hated the communists, yeah, the way the Shiites hate the Sunnis. But they're brothers. They're brothers. Through the Storm print. Have these left. Pigman trading card. Anyway, I'm going through all this stuff here, but I also have this, guys, if you're interested. It's a Muhammad Photobomb cartoon offer. I can draw you for cheaper. It's 175. It's a little cheaper than some of the other stuff that I sell the original art. It's 8 by 10 drawing of you with Muhammad photobombing you. It's fun. I got a good number of offers with that. So here's Muhammad threatening you not to buy this card. So what are you gonna do, guys? You got to buy it. I mean, you can't let this guy get away with that kind of threat. Drop the weapon. Free speech under fire print. Israel versus the world. This is my post October 7th cartoon. This is a great, great quote by Aristotle. For while both the truth and one's friends are loved, it is a sacred thing to give the higher honor to the truth. Love it. Every honest friend would appreciate that. Lying friends wouldn't. My first Muhammad trading card, I got a number of, how much? Like 15 now, I think. If you're going through hell, keep going, print. This was after the Nick Fuentes gang, Groypers, were coming out hard for Islam and stuff. And so I said, all right, Jew haters in love. So I made Hitler and Muhammad making out, you know, and with blood, made in blood red. This is a drawing I did of Muhammad, Allah coming out of Muhammad's head. It's his figment of his imagination. It was for a book on the Quran that I adapted. September 2nd, a moment from Atlas Shrugged, Pigman, Smoke Print, more cards. I got a lot of things here, guys, so check it out. Also a donate button if you want to. I've been demonetized on YouTube. I can't get super chats anymore, so if you want to support me, back my Pigman comic book, donate here on my site. I would really appreciate your support and get my books and the comics and my cards. So thank you very much, guys. I had to mention that. I appreciate it. I will make my pitch for Pigman after this. But in the meantime, let me go here, put it back to the cover. Hobgoblin lives. Okay, let me get some comments here, guys. Okay. Marcus Kelligrew. Hey, Marcus. They say a high tide raises all boats, but Eric July sinks the comics boat. Man, it doesn't belong in this space. He's not an artist. You know, he's not. He's produced some bad comics. Gave a bad taste. Imagine, guys. Imagine if Isom was someone's first comic. They don't fall in love with comics with that. They don't fall in love with comics by reading that. You know, it's tragic in that sense because I remember reading great comics when I was a kid. I fell in love with them because they were great. This is not great. This is bad. Sanjay Comics Puppet Production said, aha, I got to make my non-working phone work on alerting me to see these live streams. Appreciate it. Hamilton Berger said, there's a reason college campuses are such hotbeds of anti-Semitism. The left agrees with the Nazis' signature policy. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's true. They were socialists and they had, it's like, they say, well, it's like a race communism. Yeah, it is communism. It is socialism. It is fascism. It's all that mixed. The only difference in the names, they wanted to individualize the names of their, co-ideologies. It's like, no, my shit's named Nazism. Mine's a better form of what Marx was pushing. Oh yeah, well mine's called communism and so on. I mean, well, communism being Karl Marx. What I'm saying is like these people try to create their own forms of it. The fascists. It's just they were all socialists. Every single last one of them are dictators. And on the political map, the left is where you find totalitarianism, whether it's religious or secular. That's where you find it. On the right, it's not what they claim. It's not anarchy. It's not. It's freedom. It's liberty. All the way to the left is evil. All the way to the right is good. Is freedom, individualism, individual rights. That's what it is. Then in the middle, you get the whole fucked up, mixed up, corrupt, who knows what. Make one on Muhammad raping 9-year-old. I don't do obscene cartoons. I wouldn't do that. That's not my style. People are free to do that. I'm not opposed to them doing that. I just don't do that. I get requests to draw Muhammad this way, that way, and I don't like to turn down money for things like that, but I do turn down, and they get pissed at me. They call me a pussy. I just don't do certain things. I wouldn't do that. I drew Muhammad's harem in this book. And let me show you guys. Let me show you. This was a Quran that I drew for a Danish publisher. If you haven't seen it, I think some of you have, but if you haven't, here it is. It got a little water damage. Unfortunately, I did the cover, inside cover. I did the drawing of Allah and Muhammad, the one that I showed you before. Damn, this is really damaged. I got another copy that's better. That's the drawing of Muhammad with Allah. And then here's the one drawing. So while I would not do that, make him quote unquote raping her, it's like I did draw his harem where Aisha is being brought to Muhammad and his other, women are pissed because that's his quote unquote favorite wife. That's his favorite wife. So I don't do that. Whatever, Og 999. I mean, might as well be Hitler and Muhammad kissing. Did you did you see my drawing of that? I just showed it on my website, Sanjay, because I just showed Hitler and Muhammad making out within a heart. It's called Jew Haters in Love. If you didn't, that's pretty wild. Um, Muhammad being raped by Hitler. Yeah, I'll leave that to others. That's obscene stuff. I don't do that stuff. I'm called every name in the book, but I don't do that stuff. I just don't. Again, people can do that. People can make the most obscene things they want. They have the freedom to do that. It's just not my thing. Um, Sanjay Comics Puppet Productions. I loved Spider-Man and Hobgoblin with John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson. That was great. Issue 250 is fantastic. And Klaus really kept well to Romita's pencils because he tends to deviate at times. He didn't, though. On the cover, he did. He fucked up the lines a little, but in the interior is really good. Imagine these being sold in the UAE. Yeah, imagine that. Jimmy Lumberjack says the ISOM 1, 2, and 3 books need to be studied and taught in every art school on what not to do. It's a modern case study. Absolutely right. It'll be like the Phantom Menace videos on Red Letter Media. You know, that's worth watching. And I resent this idea that all of a sudden those shit movies, the prequels, are good all of a sudden. They've turned good. No, they haven't. They still suck. There are elements of Revenge of the Sith with it, which I like. Revenge of the Sith. The first two, can't buy them, can't own them, don't want them anywhere near me. They suck. I don't give a shit what anyone pretends these days. They've gotten a lot better. No, they haven't. It's just that things have gotten worse. So they think with a nostalgia, whatever. Like that was my movies. Like that was my version of Star Wars. You idiot. It's like the idiots who say, "Well, my Jordan is LeBron." Your what? There's only one Jordan. There's only one. There's no continuations of Jordan. Jordan is Jordan. He's the greatest. Period. LeBron, he's you know he's great technically speaking, but he's so unlikable. He's so shitty. He's such a follower. It's unbelievable. He's such a collectivist. Also, he will vote a certain way because he thinks it's popular. He will do things that he thinks are popular. And right now, he's getting older. He's in his 40s now. It's like you're damaging yourself the longer you play. But good, because now it's even clearer than ever that Jordan is the greatest. Okay, okay, Sanjay, cool. Okay, very, very cool. Um, at OG99, I'll draw Mr. M, Worldwide Crimes. Okay, not sure what you're saying here. But let's get to here, and then I'm gonna pitch Pigman, and then I'm gonna go. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it. You know what I'm let me just draw something quick to let you know what I mean. Because this is wrong. It's wrong what they did here. Aesthetically wrong. The forearms. Let me show you what I mean here. I'm going to draw it here and then show you what I mean. Because Friends and George Perez fucked up. And I know I'm a stickler for this. I don't care. I think it's great. Um, okay, let me show you quick. Okay, you see the way he did the forearm there? You know, it sucks. It's lumpy, and the lines are going the wrong way. They're going the wrong way, flat out. And this is the way it would look like. It should look like a cylinder. Now, this right here is more aesthetically pleasing. And if you have the opportunity, why not do it? Why not? Why stick to what, and also that wrist right there is pretty jacked up. I can't help but look at it like that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not here. And also, his boots are way too high. I like the Jeremy Jr. when he puts them right under the calf. It's just enough right there. That's way too high. And the Spider-Man is like, what the hell? The Spider-Man is huge. The spider on his chest, that is. And the lines are all jacked up also. 3 lines mean nothing. Put a lot or put very few. Put a line there for the nose, put a line there for the mouth. But that's my complaints here, guys. I'm a stickler for this stuff. I love Ramita's um, perfection, his perfected version of Ditko's brilliant design. I love it. And I can't see Spider-Man any other way. That's why, when I saw McFarlane, it made me sick. I was like, what the hell? Terrible. Hamilton says, people forget that the alternative to bad, the sequel trilogy, isn't necessarily good. The prequels, in the case of Star Wars, it is less bad. Yeah, that's it. Prequels, I guess, to some extent, are better than the sequels. There were elements there. I like Qui-Gon Jinn, the idea of him, not the execution. It sucked. Um, uh, I don't know. I'm trying to think. The lightsaber scenes were pretty cool. Um, Sam Jackson played Sam Jackson, which was stupid. Um, and then you got part 3, which again I can watch elements of. There are some good dramatic scenes. I didn't think George Lucas had it in him when Anakin is crying when he's looking over across all the buildings. He knows that Padme is there. He knows what he's about to do. He doesn't like it. And he starts to mourn, like pre-mourn. What's going to happen? What he's going to do? Because he knows what he's up to isn't good. But in his mind, well, I can say Padme. Terrible. And then also his 2 discussions with Palpatine at the theater and in the hallway when he reveals himself as a Sith Lord. Good stuff. Good acting, good music, good directing from Lucas. It made it worth it. I don't care for that hour battle at the end. There were elements that I like, but overall it went way too long. Way too long. And also, the guys did their work. Anakin, Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, they put the work in. I understand that, but that long a fight, no, not good. Prequels at least have a coherent through line. The sequels are simply gas, for sure. For sure. It was one man's story. He knew where he was going. The other ones were complete bullshit from producers to Kathleen Kennedy to J.J. Abrams to that other hack who did Last Jedi and so on. Nothing was clear. Clearly, they had no end game there. Terrible, terrible choices, guys. Terrible choices. Okay, so without further ado, Spider-Man, Hobgoblin Lives, written by Roger Stern, who is a creator with John Romita Jr. of Spider-Man. Here we go. So we start off here. I guess I'll read this. That's pretty cool. They got the full cover here. It was a full double-sized, like front and back cover. You have just a mask of the Hobgoblin. Now the Hobgoblin's been off the grid for a while. I think at this time, they assumed that Ned Leeds was a Hobgoblin. He was killed in Germany, and so on. And then you find out that that's not the case. He wasn't killed, and so on. He's back now. Anyway, it's a mess. It was too many cooks in the kitchen. Too much stuff going on. Tom DeFalco went in 10 different directions trying to make it interesting, I guess, but it became a hassle. One of the greatest mysteries in Spider Man's long and colorful crime and fighting career has just become unsolved. The trial of Jason Messendale, the current Hobgoblin. See, that's the thing about the current Hobgoblin. People say, well, I prefer this now. Yeah, but he's the original, even though he's a derivative of the Green Goblin. I gotta say, I like him better. Um, I like him better than the Green Goblin. Is that sacrilege or something? Maybe. He's smarter. He's more dangerous. He keeps his wits about him. He doesn't go crazy. He's not a psychopath. He's not crazy like Norman Osborn. And it just that color scheme, everything about it is cool. A little scarier mask and so on. Green Goblin can look a little goofy at times. Hobgoblin never looked goofy. The trial of Jason Messendale, the current Hobgoblin, sets off a chain of events that will culminate in blackmail, corruption, political maneuvering, and murder. Jason Messendale, as far as I remember, wasn't he the Jack o' Lantern? Wasn't he that? I think he was. So he was used to riding that kind of glider that the Hobgoblin has, Green Goblin has, on his pogo thing, whatever it was. And lurking in the shadows, presiding over all of it is a man thought to be long dead, thought to be nothing more than an unpleasant memory, the original Hobgoblin, returning to New York crime scene after a long absence. But the original Hobgoblin was discovered to be Daily Bugle investigative reporter Ned Leeds, who was murdered in Berlin several years ago. Can it be that Ned has somehow come back from the dead? Is it possible that he never truly died? Or was he never really the Hobgoblin at all? The Hobgoblin lives, and Spider Man's days may be numbered. So that's a setup. And then you have George Perez, Strange. He only exists one issue, of course, because he puts a lot of lines in. That's his whole thing, lines. Um, that's right, Travis Barry. What about Paste Pot Pete? I know the name. I know that was a bad guy in Spider-Man, wasn't it? It's funny. So this was after issue 251, if I remember, because you got the issue of Spider-Man on the cover, Ron Frenz and Klaus Janson putting the mask up in his fist, and he thought he was dead. Victims. It starts at the bottom of the Hudson River. It always starts there. I'm searching for the Hobgoblin again, just like the first time. Nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows who he is. I gotta pull this up a little. I want you guys to. Okay. Let's see. Can you guys see it clearly? You can. Cool. Okay. So, uh, just like the first time, all I can find is his mask, but then things get weird. As that empty mask rises into the upper currents, my spider sense goes off like a 5 alarm fire bell. I want to make sure you guys can see this clearly. I think you can. Okay. Cool. And I can feel the danger all around me, below and behind me. But the warning comes too late. There is no escape, Spider Man. You are helpless before the Hobgoblin. And again, George Perez inked Ron Frenz, which is a little strange for me. Ron Frenz is a looser artist, a more simple artist. It's very strange to have all these lines, these strange lines here that he adds. It didn't last because he left after this issue. Bob McLeod came in to finish up the job, and he was a more fitting inker for Frenz. Sanjay Comics puppet production. Paste Pot Pete from Strange Tales Human Torch villain changed his name later. That's right. I think they mocked him. He was in the FF also, I think. The villain? I think so. One second, guys. Sorry, I gotta get rid. There's a lot of rats coming my way. In addition to the over 1,000 new followers I got on X, a lot of rats are coming around, and they're just, man, it's going on more than that. So I had 26,000 the other day, and now I'm heading up to 28,000, so almost 2,000. But anyway, let's go on. Sorry for the interruptions, guys. I gotta keep my mind off of that. It's interesting, though. It is interesting. His hand is like a vice, squeezing the breath out of me. I can't let it end like this. I have to know the truth. Satisfied? No, not Ned Leeds. I don't want to believe it. Now you know my secret, Spider-Man, so I must know yours. So, Peter Parker, we're even now, Parker, or we soon shall be. My old friend Ned Leeds is the Hobgoblin, but Ned is dead. No, 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 Peter. And by the way, Hobgoblin is back in a recent comic, and the most recent right now, and it is the original one. I don't want to say his name because if you guys don't know, we'll just find out together through this. There's some good stuff here with Perez. I don't care for all that business on the bed, but like that's not bad. That's a pretty good Peter Parker. You could tell there's a little underneath it. There's some Ron Friends, a little, but he's just too scratchy. It's like he inked with a razor blade. George Perez. Ugh, Peter, Tiger, what's wrong? Just a bad dream, MJ. Just sorry I woke you. Go on back to sleep. Not likely. There's more bothering you than just a dream. Just a bad dream. More? Yeah. I gotta see some quick, guys. 1 second. Okay. There's been lots more these past few months. Losing our baby, Aunt May dying, the layoffs at the Bugle, that whole crazy mess with my clone. Yeah, this is I remember some of that stuff happening back in the day, but and then finding out that Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, was all alive and behind most of it. Okay, so this is after Norman Osborn came back. It would have been cool to have had them go at it. They eventually did. Green Goblin and Hobgoblin. They eventually did go at it. And one three-part story. John Romita Sr. made the covers. Luke Ross penciled it. Roger Stern co-wrote it. I think that was the case. Pretty entertaining. The art wasn't to my full liking, but and then finding out that Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, was alive and behind most of it, we all thought that he died years ago. Real life has been enough of a nightmare. If not for Mary Jane, I think I would have lost my mind. So then why do I keep dreaming about Ned? You had the dream again. You had that dream again, didn't you? You know me all. You know me too well, kiddo. Yeah, it was the Hobgoblin dream again. Yeah, Marcus Killigrew. Yeah, I know. It just looked like a razor blades at the time. It was not the best. I mean, I did like some of the Titan stuff. I preferred his inks, I think, over some of the other guys. But when you see him inked by Terry Austin and that X-Men, annual, I mean, it's really, really good. He gave him a little more style, a little more cartooniness to his work. Didn't know why. Don't know why. Don't know why. You think that the trial would bring some closure. So there's a trial of the Hobgoblin, the current Hobgoblin, as they call it, Jason Messendale. Was he? Now, guys, I might be wrong here. Was he the Jack-o'-lantern or was he the foreigner? I don't think he was a foreigner, but was he? I'm not sure. Man, Jameson's been plastering Jason Messendale's ugly kisser all over the front page ever since he went to trial. But you dream about Ned. Messendale isn't the original Hobgoblin. Yeah, and most people don't know that. Even his defense team didn't bring it up. Not that it matters. Messendale's guilty of plenty in both his identities. I'm one of the few people who knows that Messendale paid to have Ned Leeds killed and then replaced him as the Hobgoblin. But I can't prove it. The only evidence I ever saw was destroyed. Okay, so Peter says, I'm one of the few people who knows that Messendale paid to have Ned Leeds killed and then replaced him as the Hobgoblin. See, that's something that I forgot. But I can't prove it. The only evidence I ever saw was destroyed. Besides, I couldn't reveal what I learned about Ned being the Hobgoblin. His widow, Betty, had been through enough hell already. That's nice, Peter, but it's not about you and the personal life. It's about, you don't want to have this fake reputation of this bad guy. You don't. Sanjay Comics Puppet Productions said Ron Friends got me into the Spider-Man in the 80s. He was good. I resented him. I know that, Romita Jr. left and Friends followed. I resented him. I was like, I don't like his stuff compared to Romita Jr. stuff, but it grew on me, and he was good. he was good. He was a good Spider-Man artist, you know. And Joe Rubinstein with inked most of those issues. They were good. He brought a little more Ditko into there. Later issues brought a little more Romita Senior. You could tell he was going back and forth between them both. The Hobgoblin issues were pretty fun, but again, it's not, to me. This, like, even though that is the original Hobgoblin, some of it was a little off. I think Tom DeFalco dirtied the waters. He got too busy with a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, so Peter, you seem like you're a million miles away. Sorry, I was just thinking about Betty Leeds. About Betty Leeds, who was one of his first loves. She was working at the Daily Bugle. One second, guys. Okay. I wonder how she's taking all this. Betty, I've had enough, Betty. No. Ned, no, you can't leave me now. Doesn't our marriage mean anything to you, Ned? More than it means to you? Can you honestly say that reminds me of Buscema right here, big time. The musculature, the face there, interesting. And that does not look like George Perez at all, but I imagine it is. Just want to make like a dream sequence version. Interesting, huh? I wonder if you use a different tool than the rapidograph, as Mark has mentioned. Can you honestly say that I am the man you love? Can you? No, no, I didn't think so. You are the cause of our problems, Betty. Stop it, please. You made me what I am. Stop it. Okay, Marcus Kilgrew. Yes, Messendale was the Jack Lantern. Okay, cool. I thought it was, but I wasn't 100% sure. I know the foreigner came on the scene for a little while. Sorry, my printer is cleaning itself. You got these annoying sounds. At least I can hear them. Maybe you can't. Oh my God, when will this never end? I thought that I'd finally laid Ned to rest, but this trial has brought back so many memories. So many memories, she says. So many horrible memories. Wake up, cretin. Open your eyes. Flash Thompson was a lucky one. I want you awake that you may see the true face of your destroyer. He never did see Hobgoblin's face, but I did. I repressed the memory for so long. Damn, man. Roger Stern had to do some heavy lifting here to try to make sense of it all. So funny because he's like, so funny. He's like, okay, I got to figure this all out and try to make it cohesive as I can to finally reveal the truth about who the Hobgoblin was, according to me, the creator. Maybe I should get more counseling, but how can I tell anyone, that my husband was secretly the Hobgoblin? Who would believe me? I can hardly believe it myself, but I can't forget it. I can never forget. So, interesting. He's going across the city. Everyone's responding to this. That's good storytelling. Roger Stern's great. To me, he's the second best Spider-Man writer after Stan Lee. The trial of Jason Philip Messendale, who allegedly terrorized New York as a Hobgoblin, may soon be over now. Now it's in the hands of the jury. This story and more just ahead from your 24-hour news desk. Somebody turn that thing down. Fuck new TV news. Not a grain of substance. And the papers are going the same way. Last call, Conover. You want another fill? Not tonight, Mario. 30 years I was with the Bugle. Wrote a lot of stories, a lot of columns, but working stiffs like me always get the gate, while the teachers' pets keep their jobs. What a bitter guy. Take Ned Leeds, for instance. He was always Jameson's fair-haired boy. If he hadn't gotten himself killed, you can bet he'd have been kept on. I remember a few years back, I was building a story on corporate corruption. I was close to getting the goods on Roxanne, Osborne, all the big boys, when Nettie Boy borrowed my files. I'm not saying he sold out, but after he died, I discovered that my files had vanished, and now my job has too. Yeah? Well, my mama used to say, don't get mad, get even, then get ahead. Your mama was a smart lady, Mario, and I will get even. A lot of folks are going to regret that they ever crossed Jacob Conover, and nobody's going to be sorrier than J. Jonah Jameson. Yeah, this is not the kind of detail that you ever see from Ron Friends, the one that George Perez doing, and that's fine. I mean, that's fine. He's adding a lot here that wasn't there. Just I would have much preferred if it had lasted, meaning okay, do all three issues. But by the time he was done with issue one, that was it. They got a new anchor because he couldn't do it, I guess, timing wise. Then why start it? Where's the justice? Even if Messendil gets the maximum, it doesn't bring back the people he's killed. Too many good men die. Too many like Ned Leeds. And again, I know Peter again. We've seen this happen. Like even the Dark Knight movie, where they want to retain the good reputation of Harvey Dent, but he sold out. He became evil. He chose that. And the idea is like, well, look what happened to him. Yeah, look what happened to Bruce. He lost his parents and the love of his life, and he's still a good guy. So whatever the Joker's purpose was to try to make Howard Dent crazy, hey, that was his ally. He did it. He chose to do that, and it's not good to have a bad guy keep a good reputation. It's not good here for Ned Leeds to keep his good reputation, where he's lamenting his death here, James Jonah Jameson, when he was a bad guy. Now, you know, I think he was a dupe, if I remember correctly. A dupe of the original Goblin, but still, at this point, as far as they knew, before Roger Stern came to clean up the mess, he was the Hobgoblin. They did make him a Goblin. And it was such a weird ending, guys, because if you remember, it was James Owsley, who's now Christopher Priest. He was the editor. He had a bad run-in with Tom DeFalco and Ron Friends, and I think they quit because of it. He was the editor there. He wrote the Wolverine and Spider-Man special where Ned Leeds was killed, and you find out that that's the Hobgoblin. So it was anticlimactic. You don't get to see it in real time, meaning as you read the story, you just find out a month or two later, oh, okay, so I guess the Hobgoblin's dead. He died in that special issue, Wolverine and Spider-Man. Not good. Not good. That story deserved an impactful ending. So here we are, and it's not even over now. As I said, there's still, the original Hobgoblin is out there today in today's comics, 2025. So I think he's a character worth going back to, as are a lot of Spider-Man's enemies. And I drew Hobgoblin last week for Comics Get Kings, and that's why I think I've been revisiting these issues. I was just reminded of it because as soon as Ethan said, the theme for this week is Spider-Man foes, Hobgoblin came right to mind. I was like, okay, cool, very very cool. Okay, so here is J. Jonah Jameson lamenting the death of a good man, Ned Leeds, who, according to everyone else at Marvel prior to this, to Roger Stern coming back, was the Hobgoblin. Jonah, are you still up? You weren't going to smoke that? Not if you don't want me to, dear. What's weighing on your mind this time? The Hobgoblin trial. Remember I told you about the time Hobgoblin tried to blackmail me and how that blasted Spider-Man intervened? Intervened. He saved your life, dummy. I wasn't about to be beholden to him. So I secretly assigned Ned Leeds to investigate the Hobgoblin. So that's what it was. Okay. Now, this is an element here that I believe Roger Stern puts together here. I believe that element of him sending Ned Leeds on a secret assignment to investigate the Hobgoblin, because he did, and then he came across Hobgoblin, and I think Hobgoblin ensnared him in his plan, because he used a number of dupes even early on. Lefty Donovan and some others. Yeah. Yes, Marcus. Priest was James Owsley at the time, and very young. He saw the DeFalco Friends team as old-fashioned. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate. They were doing some good Spider-Man comics. They were, and they did clash. And he was young. And I think Jim Shooter, unfortunately, I love Jim Shooter. I think he gave, I don't think he was ready for that. And I think, as Christopher Priest now, in an interview, I think he even acknowledged the fact that he wasn't quite ready for prime time. Shooter threw him out there. I don't think he was ready. He is a good writer, though. I like his writing. Um, Whenever, I don't know what he's writing now, but when I did read it, I did like it. He was interesting. But yeah, that's unfortunate, man. Um, they did clash, and they were pissed. And the interviews that the DeFalco and friends do, uh, it's still heated. It's still heated, because they lost their big thing, which is Spider-Man. He was the biggest deal at Marvel, and then they did Thor and stuff, and good stuff. But that Spider-Man run was that was their most popular one. Okay. So I secretly assigned Ned Leeds to investigate the Hobgoblin. If only I'd insisted that he stick to that assignment instead of letting him run off to Berlin. I let him go to his death. Jonah, it's not your fault. I wish I could believe that, Marla. It's so funny to see Jane Jonah Jameson become an adult after those early issues of Spider-Man where he was a madman, flat out madman, creating the Scorpion, the spider robots and all that to kill Spider-Man, basically. Not to just beat him. What does that mean? Kill him. So, but then he's a more mature adult, here, even though he was always, older. Um, I wish I could have believed that, Marla, but when I think of all the heartache and grief Betty suffered after Ned died, I can never. And they gave him a longer mustache now. If you remember, guys, he had the Hitler mustache as Tidico established, and then it got longer over the years, longer and longer. Pretty funny. I can never bring her husband back. Okay, that's Messendale there. Some interesting stuff here. I remember reading this a while back. So let's check it out. But I have to do something to help. Here's a courtroom. Here's a courthouse. Some crowd inside. Some crowd inside. Never seen so many cameras. Huh. Yeah, it's that Hobgoblin trial. I hear they expect a verdict today. Bets, you okay? Oh, sure, Peter. Just a little foggy. I didn't sleep well last night. Yeah, me neither. Must be something in the air. Or maybe we just need vacations. You've been working nonstop for months. Yes, I thought that. I think that Jonah wants to keep me busy. To him, hard work is the best therapy. Hey, Parker, how's it going? You still working for that slave driver, Jameson? Afraid so, Jake. But I'm just a freelancer again. No need to apologize. You gotta go where the money is. Me, I got a gig as a stringer for a wire service. Any word on? Not yet, but listen. They just announced the verdict. Guilty on all counts. Here he comes. Hey, Hobgoblin, over here. All right, stand back. Live at the scene with an NYPD's code. With the NYPD's code, blue team is escorting. Sorry, with the NYPD's code blue team. That was a little. Is escorting the former mercenary. Hey, Messendale. Word on the street says you weren't the first Hobgoblin. Any comment? Huh? Yeah, it's true. I wasn't the first. I had that loser killed and then took over his gig. It was easy. Hey, keep it moving. You want to know more? Ask her. The first Hobgoblin was her husband, Ned Leeds. Whoa. Okay. So that blows out into the open. Something that Peter was trying to hide for his own personal reasons. But again, the public should know that this guy was not a good guy. If that was the case, which back then it was. Thanks for pointing it out, Marcus, by the way. Those little details. Appreciate it. Is that true? Miss Leeds, over here. Hey, back off. Surprise accusation that the late reporter for the Daily Bugle had been the Hobgoblin. Betty, your husband died under mysterious circumstances overseas. Do you believe that Messendale was responsible? Peter? Stick with me, Bets. Out of the way. Hey! He's using spider power a little, just nudging a little. Well, at least our way is clear now. That's right. Messendale, you idiot! If that was the truth, you just confessed to murder in front of dozens of witnesses. Do I look worried, Lieutenant Stone? I've already been found guilty of capital crimes. Another murder just means another trial, a long trial. Damn. So he had that pretty well thought out, especially if it can be proven that the alleged victim actually committed some of my crimes. Yeah, I'll be staying alive a good long time now. Miss Leeds, your reaction? Turning on one of their own. They're worse than vultures. Absolutely, Peter. No doubt about it. The scum media. Run, Bets. What? Hey, Run and don't stop. I'll try to hold him there. That's a good panel. Very good. And in this case, having Perez as the anchor really worked nicely. Very, very cool. Wong, wong. I could hold him back all day, but there's no need for that. What? Look out. Oof. Bet he has a good head start now. And by the time our esteemed colleagues pick themselves up, I'll be changed. I'll be changed. That's some good stuff here. That's pretty cool. I don't like the excess lines and the wobbly ones, but again, guys, I'm a stickler when it comes to that. Once for me to establish that, it's very, very difficult to go away from that. Very difficult. Sunjay Comics Puppet Production says, yeah, Jameson wrote that I created Scorpion and Spuddy thought he had the letter stopped. Jameson character stopped being a cartoon character. Yep. I liked him as a cartoon, but that was a great change. Absolutely. It was great. And then the little moment here and there and the Daredevil Born Again where he's talking to Ben Urich about never giving in. Great, great stuff, man. But again, it was also fun as hell to read him as a madman back in those days with a Hitler mustache and all, flat top, and just completely obsessed with Spider-Man to the point where he even confessed at one point that he indeed is jealous of Spider-Man. You know what? Let's see. Let me see something here. Give me 1 minute. I like these little moments here because it gives me an opportunity to pull up something here, which I think is worth reading. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Hope it comes up. Let's see. Let me see, guys. Give me 1 second. I think it's worth reading. Just to bring up, he was explicit about his hatred for Spider-Man and why. Okay, here it is. So you get to see, this is, I believe, issue 10. I think issue 10 of Amazing Spider-Man. I might be wrong, but I think so. And if that's a case, if that is the case, then this is officially, I believe, the first acknowledged, at least behind the scenes, if not officially on the titles, that Ditko plotted, penciled, and inked the Spider-Man comics, and Stanley just came after and he added the dialogue. So if that's the case, this is interesting because it brings a little of Ditko into this in terms of envy and mediocrities and so on, and objectivism. So it says later, after his office has emptied out, am I always to be thwarted, embarrassed, frustrated by Spider-Man? I hate that costume freak more than I've ever hated anyone before. I'll never be contented while he's free. All my life I've been interested in only one thing, making money. And yet Spider-Man, is that the case? I mean, he was a newspaper man. There's other ways to make money, but anyway, go on. And yet Spider-Man risks his life day after day with no thought or reward. If a man like him is good, is a hero, then what am I? I can never respect myself while he lives. It gives you a little more urgency, like in why he wants to kill him. It's like, I can never respect myself while he lives. Spider-Man represents everything I am not, everything that I'm not. He's brave, powerful, and unselfish. The truth is, that's a whole different thing about, probably they clash about that word, unselfish, Ditko and Lee, but that's another story. He's brave, powerful, and unselfish. The truth is, I envy him. I, J. Jonah Jameson, millionaire, man of the world, civic leader, I give everything I own to be the man that he is, but I can never climb to his level. So all that remains for me is to try to tear him down, because heaven help me, I'm jealous of him. It's interesting stuff, man. It really is. 1 second, guys. Let me get that out. Let me knock that out here. I gotta go here. And let me get back to the comic. I thought that was worth mentioning. I have it on my desktop. I just remember, I did a little reread through, and I wanted to get that out there. What the hell? Okay. I gotta pull this. I gotta get this all for you guys to be clearly able to see. Do one more. I think that'll be okay. Marcus Kelligrew writes, this series is after the McFarlane Spidey, which changed the Romita version. Even Romita drew more lines on his costume. He did. Uh, even though he only may have done it once, twice, but he still retained the nose line, mouth line. He did do that, but he made the eyes bigger. He added more of the web lines. Even I think he did it reluctantly, but I think there was an edict because if you remember, Marcus, at the time there was those 3 issues, 3 series. I think Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man. At the time, I think that's what it was, or there was maybe something else at the time. There was one issue where Sal Buscema for Spectacular Spider-Man drew him his old classic way with the wide, those 2 lines there, but still somewhat close to the Romita version with a light. Also, I think he was drawn with a light blue costume. Um, um, uh, Sal Buscema. Within one issue, he changed completely. All the lines, the big eyes, completely. It was an edict, editorial edict, 100%. Must have been in the 90s at some point, early 90s. I'm thinking probably. Um, it was again, it pissed me off because I was like, fuck, I love Romita's version so much. And again, I can see the appeal because in a lot of ways, Ditko, he was the establishing artist. He was the guy who created it. It was his creation. Um, but when Romita came and just, perfected that brilliant design, making it so recognizable, so, it made so much sense. As I said, check out my video, guys. It's on my channel. It's about how the Romitas took Ditko's design next level. It's about a half hour long, and I not only discuss it, but I draw on the screen as I've shown exactly what I'm referring to and why. The cylindrical aspect, the symmetrical aspect of the webbing, the placement, the human face coming through the mask still, with the nose line, the mouth line was always there. It wasn't there by accident. Nothing is there by accident when it comes to Romita. He was very, very careful with his lines, especially when he inked. He was that damn good. Check out his. I have the Ars edition of the Spider-Man comic strip. It's fantastic, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So he made it. He made it his own. He really did. Took that brilliant design, just made it his own. So yeah, I did resent. It's funny because once you establish that, it's so perfect. Anything that deviates from it is like it gets a little frustrating. But yeah, Marcus, I do remember that moment in time where Romita was doing that, and Romita Jr. never went back to that classic version. He still, to this day, makes the web lines, and it's like, and even like Ed McGuinness, he was going back and forth with Romita in the last few years. He was drawing the Romita version. Ed McGuinness was even doing that. So, and then you got other guys doing that, and then Romita Jr. still comes and does the McFarlane one, which again I don't like. I just don't. It was not heroic. McFarlane Spider-Man was big ass, weird legs, flat face, big head, always creepy. That's not. It wasn't heroic. It was not heroic at all. Um, I don't know. I mean, believe me, at the time, I remember everyone was loving it, and I was like, "What?" I stopped buying it. I was like, "Nah, this is not." And I think Romita took a little exception to it also, because he had that same idea where, well, that's the ideal version of Spider-Man. What the hell is this? And they clashed, and probably, but the readers seemed to like it. Extra lines. I did like McFarlane's Hulk, though. I will say, because I'm not just trashing him. I loved his Hulk. It was like as I put it the old day, it was like a steroid version of Kirby's Hulk, um, like a ballooned up version, but it was fun. The short nose, long upper lip, like an ape hunched over, and that's fine. It's like a monster style thing. But for Spider-Man, he's a heroic character, and McFarlane's version was very unheroic. Okay, and out of here. Good. Betty's already made it to street level. Huff, huff. Hey there. Need a lift? What? Boom. Picks her up. pretty cool. Where'd she go? She had to have come this way. How could she have lost us so fast? I was scoping out the courthouse in case Messendale tried to make a break, but you looked as though you could use an assist. Thank you. My pleasure. You can open your eyes now. Huh. I hate this next part, but Spider-Man can't appear to know too much. So, what's the story? That's a good shot there. Very good shot by friends. And again, I'm liking it more than I thought going in because that's some good stuff. Good roofage right there. The way, um, what's his name? The way Perez. Because I don't think you'll find this in Friends Rubenstein comic. But that's good. It's very good. I like it a lot. Um, I'm liking it more than I thought, actually. Um, John Porton. Hey, John. That's such a great two-page layout. It absolutely is. It's great. Sanjay Comics Puppet Productions. I look at Ditko documentaries online and get into arguments, and hilarious. Um, it's great stuff. I love that stuff. Love that stuff. Ditko's is my favorite visual. Ditko's his Spider-Man is my favorite Spider-Man. I mean, in terms of the movement, the quirkiness, the heroism. I mean, it was and the best stories. I didn't like the Stanley Romita as much. I just didn't like those stories as much. I loved his reinterpretation, his interpretation of the costume, his redefining it. I love that. Stories, you know, not that great. Someone mentioned the other day, like those great villains. They were created, the bulk of them from Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. You had the Kingpin with Romita. Outside of that, were there any great standouts? I don't know. The Shocker, was he there? I think he was there when Romita did it. Not a great villain. Um, the Prowler, not great, even though it was a John Romita Jr. Name that John Romita Sr. went to the bullpen and mentioned it, and Stanley said, "Okay, we'll use that for a character. We'll use a name." But yeah, that's the best Spider-Man. Those first 30 issues, Amazing Fantasy, and number 15, the two annuals. It doesn't get better than that. It's thoroughly entertaining and a little edge and heart to it. From that first appearance. It's a hard story. It's a hard lesson for Peter Parker to learn. And he learned it. And then he got issue 33, that incredible issue. And that storyline was great. And there were a few storylines going, you know, that started happening back then, with the Galactus coming and with the gangsters, with the Green Goblin, that 2 or 3 issue gangster little mini story within the wider story. Um, the Master, the Dr. Octopus was under a different guise. Good stuff, man. Yes, okay, Rhino also. Okay, thanks, guys. He was good. He's not a great villain. He's not like Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, but he's good. So yeah, it was the Kingpin for sure. That was the big one. That's the big one. Um, they even use him a lot in the comic strip that Stan Lee, John Romita Sr., and Jim Shooter, who was uncredited, did in there. Because I believe, if I remember correctly, Shooter was writing the stories and Stanley was slapping on the dialogue again. And Romita Sr. inked the bulk of them, but not all of them. Not all of them. Which, again, once you establish that kind of greatness, that kind of ideal version of Spider-Man, it's tough to go back. Yeah, he is JC. I love the way Romita drew him, though. Yeah, I love the way he drew him. It was fun. I'm trying to look back, Romita and Stan Lee, but I loved. To me, the greatest Spider-Man run was Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. The greatest. Second greatest was Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. And unfortunately, again, whatever reason, Danny Fingeroth wasn't doing his job. I think he was editor at that time. Every issue was a different inker. It was like lack of consistency, not good. Sanjay Comics Puppet Productions said, I think it makes sense that Peter would look more handsome as he got older. So doing that change then was fine. Yeah, Romita made him into some kind of movie star looking, as opposed to Ditko, And supposedly Stan Lee said he tried to get him to deglamorize everyone and it wouldn't work. He couldn't quite do it. He was all right. He just lived with it. So funny. Yeah, JEC tier list of Spider-Man villains would be a fun video. Definitely. I mean, I love the character. I'm gonna reread the entire first run, and I might even do a video for each issue. It's ambitious because it'll be 41 issues. 41. The two annuals, Amazing Fantasy, and then the 38 issues. And it's also something about we never got to see Ditko ever draw Spider-Man again in publication. We saw a little doodle he did here and there to try to make the case that he did create Spider-Man. More so, I mean, okay, he didn't say that. He says it was a co-creation, even though it was more of a Ditko creation because, again, Stan Lee threw the name out there. He gave it to Kirby. Kirby came back with something that wasn't workable. And then he threw it to Ditko, and Ditko killed it. Absolutely killed it. And Stanley Noah said, okay, I got the guy for Spider-Man. And then Ditko came with with the eyes, with the mask, with the webbing, with the web shooters. That's huge, huge to what he came to be. So Stanley, unfortunately, tried to say that he was a sole creator. It's not a good look, Stan. Not a good look at all. And I love Stanley, but that was bad. And then you got these little fuck ups here, guys. Look at that. The red of the boots. The color is red there, not good. Those little things. But I'm liking the inking by Perez a little more than I thought I would because I haven't read this in a while. But yeah, I do want to reread all of those issues. I have the omnibus and I have the digital version, so definitely worth it. And then I believe I'd like to do a whole look at the second run because the first run of Spider-Man, the best one, and then the second one with Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. I'd like to do that. All right, let's continue, guys. Sanjay Comics Puppet Production said, yes, against the master, if this be my destiny. Yeah. Greatest issue that Ditko drew for Spider-Man, as heroic as all get out. Musculature was fantastic. The drawing was great. He stepped up in that issue. That was his real, goodbye. I mean, he left. It took about 5 issues to leave at that point, but that was the highlight. That was the high point of that entire series. Lifting that thing over his head, that impossible, weight over his head. Awesome. So damn good. And he was exhausted, and he still had to fight a whole crew of Doc Ock's gang. So, and then he had to fight Doc Ock. But great stuff. All right. Actually he beat them and then went to get the cure to Aunt May. He fought Doc Ock and they got in that mess. That's what happened. That's right. So that's worth reading, I think, every single issue. I did look through Amazing Fantasy 1, so I might just keep it there and then just start with issue 1 in this series. But we'll see. And I don't know if I want to do an issue. I think I got to do at least 2. That'll make it go a little faster. Otherwise, it'll be 40 different videos. Like, damn. But we'll see. These do take long, as you notice. So I get a lot of. I go off script a lot, and even I don't have one. But my point is, I go off the actual page here a lot and talk to you guys and back and forth. And I hope you guys don't mind. I don't mind it. Thanks, Peter, again. So here we go. Spider-Man's listening to the story that he knows, but he just wants to hear from Betty, give her, the idea that he's not. I don't know, Pantheon. How you doing, Pantheon? Do you think Romita, Pattern, Peter Parker have Tony Curtis? I don't know. It's possible. The young Tony Curtis? It's possible. He did make him into a good-looking kid. It's possible. And if you notice also, they never gave Peter cheekbones, like sunken in cheekbones, like they do with a lot of other characters. They want to keep him young. That's the Romita face. I think both Romitas did that at least. Always like a full face with no sharp cheekbones. I think that's, again, a way for them to keep him young, keep him differentiated from Superman and Batman, who are always just about 30, 29, 30. Okay, she reads me a chapter and verse on what went down in the courthouse. Some great friend I am, putting her through this to hide my identity. This is one of those times when I'm glad my mask completely covers my face. Good stuff, man. Good writing. I like it a lot. Um, Very cool. Those little nuances there that Roger Stern brings in. This changes everything, doesn't it? Yeah, this changes everything. Yeah, it's true. I wasn't the first. This is interesting stuff here. Okay, I remember this now. Another Senator Martin? No, thank you. Intriguing, eh, Vandergill? These were characters. George Vandergill. Uh, if you remember 250 that I read the old day, there were a few characters in there. Roderick Kingsley, George Vandergill, that Roger Stern wanted to make to look like contenders. He was putting the little things in there. Lance Bannon and some other characters also. He even had J. Jonah Jameson holding like a gym bag, and Peter Parker was like, "Huh, what's that?" The idea being, why is he carrying a gym bag? Is he working out now? Is he? And knowing Jameson's past, like I don't know, did he lose his mind? And maybe who knows? But that's not the case. But he led you to believe a number of things. No, thank you. Intriguing, Vandergill. I don't think Vandergill showed up in the comics until that issue 250. I don't think so. What? This Hobgoblin business? I haven't been following it, Bob. Haven't been following it. It's been all over the news. What do you think about this chap claiming that Leeds was the Hobgoblin? None of my business, really. I thought you wanted to talk about the takeover bid. We've all afternoon for that, George. The Hobgoblin doesn't intrigue you at all. See, now he's putting in there something that this guy seems to be a little too disinterested, disinterested. He doth not protest too much. He actually is trying to underplay it. Why? I hear he once fought that infernal Spider-Man right here in the Century Club. So okay, cool. So they're bringing the club into this as well. I wouldn't know about that, Bob. I take it that you don't think too highly of Spider-Man. I despise Spider-Man. So now they're trying to suggest that this senator, pretty cool. And then it keeps going to these different things here. Had that loser killed and took over his gig, it was easy. You want to know more? Ask her. Hobgoblin was her husband, Ned Leeds. Well, now, that was unexpected. Osborne Manufacturing Corp. Interesting. Lead was fairly respected in media circles. This could play Hob with Buglestock now, couldn't it? That's on purpose. That's a pun. Hello, Donald Mencken here. Another character, I think, from that story. What? No, absolutely not. Look, you can tell Business Week and the Journal that the Osborne Corporation does not fight takeover bids. We initiate them. Good day. Yes, the word is getting out. Soon it will be time. I must be ready to strike quickly and decisively. So he's putting his rogues here. Stern is like, okay, guys, I got three potential here, three contenders. Let's see what you got. And now we got something interesting here also, which I don't think was established back then. I don't think so. Her husband, Ned Leeds, Roderick. If there's an investigation into Leeds' past, oh, keep your hair on, Daniel. So that's Roderick Kingsley and his brother. I think, is he a twin? I think he might be a twin, or at least he pretended to be him at times. But my God, Roderick, such an investigation might lead back to Kingsley International, to us, and be ruined. Don't you think I know that? So how can you just sit there? This is a catastrophe, and it couldn't have come at a worse time. There are no good times for such things, Daniel. So it's Daniel Kingsley, that's his brother. I don't think it was his twin, but I think it could have been, because I think he tried to make himself out to be him. We're about to launch your takeover bid, and I guess takeover of Osborne. Daniel, shut up and let me think. All right. He's the aggressor. Because if I remember correctly, the first appearance of Roderick Kingsley, he was like a little fruity. They made him look like he was in a fashion business, and he was not. And I think it could have been Daniel. I don't know for sure looking back, because I think Daniel was just created for this story. I might be mistaken. You guys tell me, but I think so. You just tend to the company's day-to-day affairs, little brother. Little brother. Okay, so not twins. I'll worry about the big picture. So again, you got four contenders now for who the Hobgoblin is, and it's all bringing back that club and the guys that Hobgoblin blackmailed. So that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. 1 second, guys. So here we go. Surprise accusation that the late reporter for the Daily Bugle had been the Hobgoblin. Police sources confirmed the existence of at least one previous quote-unquote Hobgoblin. One Samuel Lefty Donovan, yep, who died while fighting Spider-Man, but they are so far refusing comment about leads. Computer. Yes, Dr. Harrow? Access archival footage of Spider-Man checking for opponent Hobgoblin. Compare footage immediately before and after the date recorded for the death of one Ned Leeds. Running. Significant differences noted in body language and fighting style. I like this. This is good stuff. Yes, they are different men. Even a fool could see that once he knew what to look for, and all the fools were looking for it now. Bah! No wonder Messendale was captured. My operations bedeviled Spider-Man for years before he even knew that Jonas Harrow existed, and he couldn't keep me behind bars. This ersatz Hobgoblin is such an amateur. Guy's got a lot of buttons. Spam bot. Are you a spam? Are you a spam bot? If you are, let's see. I like this. Each page of the last 4 pages started with that TV screen, people's reactions to it. I like it a lot. It's very good. Betty, your husband died under mysterious circumstances overseas. Do you believe that Messendale was responsible? You saw? Yes. It's all over the blasted dial. It's ridiculous. Jonah says. It's true. I wish it weren't, but it is. I I found out shortly before he died. I guess that's what caused my breakdown. I'm sorry I never told you, Mr. Jameson. I didn't know how to tell you. A few months ago, I learned that the assassins who killed Ned had been sent by the terrorist called the Foreigner. Okay, that was the connection there. Because I thought the Foreigner actually took over for a minute, but that's what he was doing. Um, that's what he was doing. Okay, so the Foreigner sent Messengale, paid him to do it. Apparently under contract from Messendale. Oh, okay, so Messendale sent the Foreigner, excuse me. And Jonah is quiet about it. So what do we do now, Jonah? We do what we must, Robbie. We print the truth as we know it. I don't suppose Jonah had much choice given that every other major news source is jumping on the story, but even so, he could have found some way to soft pedal it. Betty deserves better. No argument there, Tiger. I'm glad you were there for her today. Betty's one of the good ones. You know, there's so much about this that just doesn't add up for me. I didn't know Ned Leeds as well as you did, but I still can't believe that he was a supervillain. I didn't want to believe it either, but I saw the evidence with my own eyes. Right, in that file the Kingpin showed you. But what if he faked the evidence? That's true. The Kingpin showed him. I remember the issue. The Kingpin showed him, showed Spider-Man some files that proved that Ned Leeds was a Hobgoblin. And he trusted, I guess, Kingpin, which is strange. But um, so Mary Jane says, right, in that file the Kingpin showed you. But what if he faked the evidence? No, the only reason that the Kingpin showed Spider-Man that file was to get back at Messendale and the Foreigner. The photos in the file were copies of ones taken by Foreigner's assassins, their own sick way of documenting the hit, and I'm certain they weren't faked. They all showed attacks which corresponded to the wounds on Ned's body. Pretty grisly stuff. It was pretty brutal the way they killed him. You know, it was a long-time character in the comics, and they almost snapped his neck off. Okay, I'll take your word for it. But if Ned was the Hobgoblin, I still don't see how 4 men could have killed him so easily. Now that's a great point, and that's something that clearly Roger Stern thought after the fact. Says, "Come on, guys, if he was, you know, how the hell can just some assassins take him out like that?" like nothing. This guy has power. He fought head to head with Spider-Man. It's an interesting point that Peter, I think, was blinded by the emotional aspect of it, Ned being a friend and so on. But if Ned was a hobgoblin, I still don't see how four men could have killed him so easily. How? Yes, how? They they couldn't have. The real hobgoblin discovered a secret formula, Norman Osborn's old formula from his Green Goblin journals, which made him as strong as I am. I took enough of his punches to verify that. Maybe the assassins were super strong too? No, I know for a fact that the foreigner didn't start using power enhanced operatives until he organized his elite death squad long after Ned was killed. After Ned was killed. Call him dead. If the foreigner's men had attacked the real hobgoblin, they would have been killed. Killed? No, they would have been pulped. But they weren't. They killed Ned. One of the assassins even broke his arm during the attack. I saw the photo. Interesting. So Ned couldn't have been the real hobgoblin. That's a bad line work there from the face that Peter right there, that Perez inked. Oof, I don't like that. So Ned couldn't have been the real hobgoblin. He must have been set up just like that poor schmo Lefty Donovan. Why didn't I see it at the time? How could I have been so blind? Oh, honey, that was such a terrible time. None of us were thinking straight. That's for sure. But now I have more questions than ever. Who set that up? Who was the real hobgoblin? Who? Great Neck Maximum Security Facility. Just 15 miles from downtown Manhattan, its ultra-secure wing has proven invaluable as a holding area for superpowered defendants standing trial. For the past several weeks, this cell has been home to Jason Messendale. Its walls are stone and steel reinforced concrete. Its bars are case-hardened omnium steel. There is no escape from Messendale, not even in his dreams. And again, this is good stuff from Perez here, inking Ron Friends, doing some yeoman's work in the wall, the stone. It's good. I didn't care for it at the time, but it's not bad at all. Okay, there were the CIA. Too extreme? You don't know the meaning of the word. I don't need the agency anymore. More money to be made freelance anyway. And with the weaponry I've stockpiled, I'll make everyone fear the jack-o'-lantern. That's right. He is jack-o'-lantern. Oh, I get it. I'm supposed to be scared, right? Nice try, Jackie boy, but you'll have to go some to top the threats I've received. Crack. He cracked that pumpkin head. Run, Jason. Run for your life. What? Who? Who do you think? No, not you. It can't be you. You're dead. Dead. Whoa. Whoa, man. Bad dreams, Jason. That's what comes from claiming to be something you're not. What? Who are you? This area is under surveillance. The guards. The guards are of no concern, Jason. They have been dealt with. You know, this is the original Hobgoblin, but he has a clear disguise here. And he's already been established here. If you don't know, he's already been established in this comic. They have been dealt with. That voice sound familiar? It should. It's a voice we both used. Did you really think that? You see the voice changing thing right there? Pretty cool. Right up against his throat. That's a good little detail that they added there. Did you really think that Lees was the Hobgoblin? He was as much a dupe as Donovan. You were all so easily fooled. You, the foreigner, the kingpin. Let go. I was amused by you at first, Jason. Ump. I allowed you to play Hobgoblin while I concentrated on more important matters. But now, just look at you. You've become an embarrassment to me, Jason. Zapped him with that finger blast. With the Hobgoblin's famous finger blast. I thought that I wasn't sure if Green Goblin did it. I think Green Goblin did establish that actually. So here we go. An embarrassment I can no longer tolerate. Look at that. Again, he's ruthless, he's smart, he's dangerous, and he's not crazy. That's one aspect I like of the Hobgoblin. To differentiate him from the Green Goblin. Yes, he's a derivative character. Again, he is a derivative, but it's one of the really good times that I think is better than the original. An embarrassment I can no longer tolerate. He just killed him flat out right there, burned him alive. Tick, 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 walk in pleasant dreams. There's the original Hobgoblin. It's a great shot. Very well drawn. Very, very cool. Midtown Manhattan. No. Century Club. Supposed to be safe. But Hobgoblin could be anywhere. Could even be one of us. Meet the real Hobgoblin in the flesh, gentlemen. Kingsley, where's the new weapon you promised? I've another batch of grenades. Bah! What good are mere grenades? The Rose has decided to terminate our working relationship. Too bad, Kingsley, but that's what you get for hanging with the Hobgoblin. So that's a nightmare of Roderick Kingsley here. Or is it Roderick Kingsley? Is it Daniel Kingsley? Gah! Oh, dream, just a dream. Should have known better. Getting involved with that criminal element was stupid, almost fatally stupid. There's something there on the sink where a mask would be, I guess. Would have bled to death if not for my brother. But that's all in the past now. All in the past. Talking to yourself? No, not again. Relax, Kingsley. I'm revising our old working arrangement. There'll be less danger for you this time. Less? I was nearly killed. No, I refuse. Oops. Okay. I don't recall giving you a choice. Remember who holds the real power. Yeah, my shoulder, you sadist. I was shot only because I'd gotten involved in your madness. Choose your words carefully. The Green Goblin was the mad one. There's no madness in the method of the Hobgoblin. But if you play your part correctly, you'll have nothing to fear and new riches to enjoy. You see, I just become the active partner in Kingsley International's little takeover scheme. Next issue, back in business. It's good. Good issue, man. Very good. And since I have some people here, some of you are new. If you don't want to hear me pitch Pigman again, guys, you can go, no problem, man. I get it. That's my job, part of my job, to promote my work to those who haven't seen it, those who might be interested. It's hey Alpha Channel, how's it going? Thanks for listening, and thank you. Pigman number 1. This is my anti-jihad, anti-Islam comic book. It's not just anti-jihad the way Holy Terror was, Frank Miller, just anti-Islam. Takes on the ideology, takes on its true believers, takes on its accomplices, and so on. Post 9/11, twin brothers, as if I split myself in two. Recovered Muslim, born again Muslim. What would it look like in my life if I became a born again Muslim? Thanks, Hamilton. What would that look like? What would I do? What would I be? Well, in this story, appreciate it, Alpha Channel. Thank you very much, man. I do this because I love it, and if you guys respond to it, excellent. That's always a bonus. So I do appreciate it. So yeah, guys, this is post 9/11, twin brothers, a Muslim background. They're watching the horror happen live, and Salam starts to laugh when he sees people jumping from the towers. And his brother, in shock, looks over to him. And then Salam screams out, Allahu Akbar! When that second plane hits, and they get into a fist fight. Killian kicks him out of his home, out of his life. He was crashing, Salam was crashing at his place. Kicked him out of his life, and that was the break of the brothers. The other brother becomes a recovered Muslim and starts thinking about his Islamic background and comic books and his world. Cigar gangster, Bosch, wood. Don't know what that means. Don't know what that means exactly. Um, so he creates Pigman within the story. So Pigman has two stories: the twin brother story, and then the story of Pigman versus Super Jihad. At first, Pigman versus Al Qaeda and the other terrorist groups for a few issues, and then finally Super Jihad. But Super Jihad's in play already because Osama bin Laden tries to threaten Pigman with it. He goes, "He will make you submit," because he heard the rumblings also about Super Jihad. So that's the story. That's the setup, guys. It has everything. It has action. It has the Islamic enemy getting it in a way that we haven't seen before in any entertainment medium, really. Um, and it has also philosophical debates, panels at comic book conventions, TV, and so on. In short, it's the Islamic background of twins comes to the forefront of their lives on 9/11, which is echoed by the comic book within Pigman vs. Superjihad. I have 275 backers, almost reaching 18,000. I'm very pleased with that, but I do want more. I want more backers. I want to really dive hard into issue 2, get it out there as well. I got a trailer by Shanth Jetty. I believe that's how you pronounce it. He did a kick-ass job. I got a 9-page preview. You guys can check it out on the Fund My Comic. 9-page preview. This is a remastered version of issue 1 and 2, all in one issue. Different covers, splash pages, double page spreads, different drawings, panels, making it better. Just making it better. It's all that. And then I have all these rewards here from 5 different covers. A traditional combo cover, a lot of bad guys, killing them though. That's the only difference. War paint cover, the 4 principal characters. Pigman making his vow to end jihad after 9/11 with the towers as a tombstone. Here's a 5th cover, just a simple shot of Pigman. You get this index card drawings of Pigman, hard index cards. It's where I drew this Muhammad drawing here the other day. You guys want to offer anything, let me know. These are really hard, guys. Hard plastic. Like, it's not plastic actually, it was just hard cards. And when you draw on it, unlike typical index cards, they don't absorb the ink. It stays on it, so it's really black. The black is black. You can get all 5 covers. You can get a digital copy, Pigman t-shirt. And this t-shirt is, again, September 11th, Twin Towers. September 11th, 9/11, capitalist pig, like a $. And then you get the war paint print. You get all, I want it all pack. I have to add I have to add the new trading card. I have to add that. 7 backers for, I have to add this. I got to keep it in mind. I got to do that right after. This is a new trading card. This was the original cover to the first issue of Pigman years ago. And I just expanded a little, made it into a trading card as well as this trading card. And also I have these sketch covers, Pigman, Killian, Duke, or whoever else you want. I have these stickers of the war paint. This is the most popular cover, and therefore I think I want to make the most of it. I think you guys really responded to this as a cover. So it's a print, it's a sticker, and also my first book, Table for One, is available on this. It's been out of print, so it'll be in print again. Original art as well, and commissions. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, as always. And back Pigman. Follow me on X, guys. If you could like this video now, while you're there, if you could like it, if you can share it even, if you like it, and if you can subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. Sanjay Comics Puppet Productions says, so much luck to you on this. Thank you. You ever hear the story that Ditko, Kirby, and Wood were going to leave Marvel together if they didn't get more control of money? I didn't hear that story. Is that right? I'd love to hear that. Can you relay where you read that? Is that in print? Is that in someone mentioned in an interview? Love to hear it. I doubt Ditko mentioned it because he did, he was, you know, he didn't want people to know anything about anything. Thank you, Spambot. um, Let me know, Sunjay Comics, because I think everyone would love to know that. I'd never heard that. I guess an early image, style thing. Interesting. They wanted to leave together. I guess go to DC or go. Imagine if they went on their own. Wow. I think they could have made some damage back then, but that was unheard of back then. Unheard of. Okay. All right. Damn it. I would love to get a story on that. Find out what happened. So he did write it out there. Evanier, I got to look into that because that sounds interesting as hell. I love that kind of lore of these legends getting together and doing that type of thing. I do have this story in mind later on, at some point, about the comic book industry. Uh, it's heroes and villains. Uh, I would love to do that. It'll be like a retelling. It'll be alluding to certain people. I might use their real names. I don't know. I might just create this idea about the comic book industry and create my own names. But it's an appealing idea where the history of the comic book industry, and again, it's heroes and villains, and the fact that these men who created were hard men. They were into adventure. They were into heroism, big time. Unlike now. Now you have these anti-heroic rats who are into the villains more than the heroes. They're villains themselves. He said they were going to go to Goodman. Damn, Martin Goodman. That would have, I mean, God damn it. Amazing. Would love to see that. They were all going to leave. Kirby decided he couldn't because of his family. Yeah, there were considerations. It's understood, they weren't sure. But then again, the edge that they had, the popularity that they had as well, they could have really proven the fact that without them, I don't think they would have been, well, they wouldn't have been. You know, the FF, John Buscema was a great artist, but that was Jack's. I mean, that was Jack. And then you got Byrne. To me, it's the same thing also with, in terms of the 60s and the 80s. You got the best FF, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, the best FF, and then you have the second best, Burns. That came 20 years later. You had the best Spider-Man with Lee and Kirby and Ditko, and then you had the best 20 years later again with Roger Stern, John Ray Jr. Um, Cigar Gangster Bosch, have you worked with sketch cards? They are my preferred comic art style. Sketch cards. I don't know what you mean. If you mean the ones that I do here, the ones that I'm offering, I have done those. I've done, phew, man, many of these. Um, Hundreds of Mohammed ones, dozens and dozens of Pigman ones. If you mean like the index cards, if that's what you mean, or you mean something else, you mean the quality of the paper, even if it's a large one. I don't know. Cigar Gangster, love that name by the way. Cigar Gangster is hilarious. Um, Sanjay Comics Puppet Production said Evanier has said it could have worked because Goodman wouldn't have had a downside. Man, and, but I'm thinking in terms of not just get more power and control, get out of Marvel. Imagine if they did that kind of exodus at that time, at the peak of their powers, the way the guys at Image did. But it would have been more impactful because these guys were legends, absolute legends. I know people pretend that the Image guys were legends. No, no. That kind of work, guys. I know that some of the kings, they revere these guys. God damn it, they can't tell a story of these guys. They can't, you know. Monodes. Was Jim Shooter the one behind the New Universe line in the 80s? Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And he did Star Brand with John Ray Jr. and Al Williamson. And the idea originally was to end the comics and then restart the Marvel Universe in a whole different way. That was the idea, the original one. And then it changed to a new universe. And then they cut the funding right underneath Shooter at that time. So he was left with young artists who couldn't really do it. Bosch was referring to cards the size of baseball cards. Yeah, I have cars. I don't. Those are very small. I haven't done that. I can do that if there's interest, but these are bigger than trading cards. So um, I haven't done that. I guess I could. Um, Interesting. Original and trading card style. I could do that if there's interest. But I'm going to get going, guys. I do appreciate your time. I do appreciate your company and your commentary. Thank you very much. I always do refresh it just in case anyone does it. I wanted to thank, but not yet. Guys, back it. I would really appreciate it. And again, also, if you want to get, I'm down to 3 of my recreations of my winning Bahama cartoon. There's only 3 left, guys. There will be no more after that. I sold 17. It's only 20. It was limited to 20. I'm down to 3 if you're interested. Thanks, Monods. I don't know how to pronounce that. But guys, be well. Thank you very much for your company. Always appreciate it. Good night. Take care. Thanks.